A very good morning and welcome to the Markets Watch section of Financial Markets. I'm your host, Victor Chiberu, to give you more insights on the performance of the financial markets here in East Africa. And we're seeing a lot happening on both the Uganda Securities Exchange as well as the Nairobi Securities Exchange, also due to the financial environment currently that we are facing as East Africans. But we had to see how these equities have reacted towards these various events and what to expect as the trading sessions go by on both the securities exchanges today and tomorrow as we finalize this month. But starting with an analysis from the Uganda Securities Exchange, we would want to go straight into the numbers. And at the end of yesterday's trading session, we're looking at a total of 3,146,952 shares. Now, all this was corresponding to a market value of 1,408,823,264 Ugandan shillings. Now, the current market capitalization stands at 20.4 trillion, and in aggregate, we are looking at about 3 listed equities participating in the trading. And by the end, we had only one gainer, and it was Stanbic Bank Uganda. Now, Stanbic went up by 0.67%, and that was in terms of share price appreciation. Now, just for context, Stanbic Bank Uganda is actually a part of Africa's leading financial services group, Standard Bank, and the largest financial institution in Uganda, licensed under the Financial Institutions Act of 2004. And the bank was founded in Uganda as the National Bank of India in 1906, and after several name changes became Grindlays Bank. And when the Standard Bank Group bought the Grindlays network in Africa, it also in October 1993 re-established a presence in Uganda as Stanbic Bank Uganda. But Stanbic Bank operates 71 points of representation and a growing network of automated teller machines, currently numbering about 111. And the bank is located all over Uganda, with Stanbic Bank's head office in Kampala, from where its business and support functions operate. But Stanbic Bank is listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange under the ticker symbol SBU, and has been so since January 25th of 2007. So more information on their international securities identification number can be found on the Uganda Securities Exchange website in case you're interested in this particular stock. But in terms of numbers, we're looking at a shares outstanding of 51.2 billion and a market capitalization of 1.93 trillion Ugandan shillings. And the current share price of Stanbic Bank is 37.75 Ugandan shillings. So SBU closed its last trading session at 37.24. and that was per share on the Uganda Securities Exchange. This alone is actually recording a 0.8% drop from its previous closing price of 37.53 Ugandan shillings per share. So Stanbic Bank actually began the year with a share price of 32 Ugandan shillings per share and has since gained 18% on that price valuation. This is ranking it the 8th on the Uganda Securities Exchange in terms of year-to-date performance. Stanbic Bank Uganda is the 4th most traded stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange, and it has been so over the past 3 months. So Stanbic Bank Uganda has actually traded a total volume of 4.43 million shares, valued at 147 million Ugandan shillings over the period. This is showing an average of 70,305 traded shares per session and a volume high of 3.98 million, which was achieved on March 20th of the same period. Now, that is our gainer in yesterday's trading session. We're seeing Stanbic Bank rising above everyone else, and we're yet to see how the market performs as of today. But shifting onto the losing side, Nation Media Group came out last with an end of day price depreciation of 7.08% and closing at about 501.63 Ugandan shillings per share. It was followed by East African Breweries with a price depreciation of 6.87% and Centum Investments with a price depreciation of 2.16%. Equity Bank went down by 0.57%, and in terms of highest trading volume, Umeme came out first with 3.01 million traded shares, followed by MTN Uganda with 133,696 and Airtel Uganda with only 6. But we want to look into Centum Investments. As of today, Centum has really been on the chart throughout this week, and we're looking at it being registered on the Uganda Securities Exchange with the ticker symbol CENT, and it was actually put onto the Uganda Securities Exchange on February 10th of 2011. But looking into the figures, we are seeing shares outstanding of 665 million and a market capitalization of 166 billion Ugandan shillings. So the current share price of Centum Investments is 250.09 Ugandan shillings, and it actually closed its last trading session at 236.25 Ugandan shillings per share on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, this is actually recording a 23.5% drop in from its previous closing price of 308.81 Ugandan shillings. Centum began the year with a share price of 205.36 Ugandan shillings and has since gained 21.8% on that price valuation. Now, this is ranking it the 5th on the Uganda Securities Exchange in terms of year-to-date performance, and looking into its general performance since last year, we're looking at a mixture of both highs and lows, but currently we're looking at a most recent change of 23.50%, which is about 72.56 Ugandan shillings. Now, shifting our focus onto the market indices, we're looking at the benchmark, which declined by 13.05, which is about 1.22% depreciation, points to close at 1,055.14. Now, this was representing a one-week loss of 0.02%, a four-week loss of 2.24%, but an overall year-to-date gain of 20.93%. The Uganda Securities Exchange Local Company Index actually, on the other hand, increased by 0.08% to reach 263.74 points. Now, this was making it a one-week loss of 0.29%, a four-week loss of 0.3%, and a year-to-date loss of 2.98%. Now, that is how it went down on the Uganda Securities Exchange yesterday, and we're yet to see a lot happening on the platform as today's trading session goes by. But we want to also shift our focus to the Nairobi Securities Exchange to understand how it went down, and also to take a peek on the performance of the cross-listed entities. But looking into our most recent trading session, we're looking at an end of a day total of 18,214,700 shares in about 927 deals. Now, this was corresponding to a market value of 358,280,954 Kenyan shillings, and that was what was traded in yesterday's trading session alone. Now, just for comparison with the previous trading session, we're looking at a 97% improvement in volume and a 205% improvement in turnover, as well as a 17% improvement in the deals. Now, the current market capitalization stands at 1.74 trillion Kenyan shillings, and in aggregate, we're looking at about 47 Nairobi Securities Exchange listed equities participating in the trading, and we ended with about 16 gainers and 29 losers. Olympia Capital Holdings led the gainers with the 9.23% share price appreciation, closing at 2.96 Kenyan shillings per share. Now, I want to understand what this particular equity does. And we are seeing Olympia Capital Holdings being a Kenya-based holding company. Its main investments are in companies dealing with the manufacture of products used in the construction industry, and we're looking at floor tiles, adhesives, we're looking at UPVC windows and door frames, we're looking at cleaning chemicals, as well as fire prevention equipment. We're also seeing production of water pumps and real estate. Now, its subsidiary and affiliated companies include Dunlop Industries Limited. We're looking at Olympia Capital Corporation and Kalahari Floor Tiles Limited, Gaborone Enterprises Limited, Avron Rubber Company Limited, and Martha and Platt Kenya Limited. Now, Olympia Capital Holdings is listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange under the ticker symbol OCH, and more information on their international securities identification number can be found on the Nairobi Securities Exchange website for more information. But just for figures, the shares outstanding are 40 million, and the market capitalization is at 118 million Kenyan shillings. Now, the current share price of Olympia Capital Holdings is 2.96 Kenyan shillings, and it closed its recent trading session with 2.96 Kenyan shillings per share. But all these figures are actually recording a 9.2% gain in from the previous closing price of 2.71 Kenyan shillings. And Olympia actually began the year with a share price of 3.27 Kenyan shillings, and we're looking at a loss of 9.48% off of that very price valuation. This is ranking it the 50th on the Nairobi Securities Exchange in terms of year-to-date performance. And Olympia Capital Holdings is the 36th most traded stock on the Nairobi Securities Exchange over the past 3 months. It has traded a total volume of 483,900 shares in about 173 deals, and all this is actually valued at 1.33 million Kenyan shillings over the period, with an average of 7,681 traded shares per session and a volume high of 216,900, which was achieved on May 3rd of that very same period. Now, just to look into other companies that performed in the previous trading session on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, we're looking at TransCentury that went up by 7.5%. We're looking at BOC Kenya that went up by 5.62%. Standard Group also went up by 4.52%. And on the losing side, Kenya Reinsurance Corporation came out last with an end-of-day price valuation of 49.47%, closing at 1.43 per share, 1.43 Kenyan shillings per share. It was followed by East African Portland Cement Company that went down by 9.06%. Umeme also went down by 7.55%, and TPS Eastern Africa Serena also went down by 6.67%. Safaricom recorded the highest volume of traded shares, which was 15.4 million, and it was followed by Cooperative Bank of Kenya with 664,400. Kenya Insurance Corporation also recorded a 577,400, and Equity Group Holdings also showed a performance with a 549,200 traded shares. And looking into these entities, would want to understand what one of these gainers really does, but would want to shine some light on BOC Kenya and understand what this entity really deals in and how their performance has been of recent. But it is primarily engaged in within the chemical industry, and the company, along with its subsidiaries, is actually engaged in the manufacture and sale of industrial and medical gases, as well as the sale of welded products. It has operations in Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania, and we're looking at the company's subsidiaries, including wholly owned East African Oxygen Limited. We're looking at BOC Tanzania Limited and BOC Uganda Limited. And BOC Kenya Limited is actually a subsidiary of Linde Group. So it is listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange under the ticker symbol BOC, and obviously more information on their international securities identification number can be found on the website. But in terms of figures, we're looking at the shares outstanding, and it's 19.5 million. The market capitalization stands at 1.84 billion Kenyan shillings. And looking into the previous trading session, we're looking at a market price of 94 Kenyan shillings per share. And previously, compared to the previous trading session, we're seeing a 5.6 gain over its previous closing price of 89 Kenyan shillings. So BOC actually began the year with a share price of 82 Kenyan shillings and has since gained 14.6% on that price valuation. This is ranking it the 19th on the Nairobi Securities Exchange in terms of year-to-date performance. Now, BOC Kenya is the 53rd most traded stock in Nairobi, and it has been so over the past 3 months. So BOC has traded a total of 1,300 shares in about 51 deals, and all that is valued at 1 point Kenyan shillings over the period. This is leaving us with an average of 259 shares per session and a volume high of 3,000 that was achieved on April 18th of the very period. Now we are looking at a total volume of 16,300 shares that was also achieved in 51 deals. But looking into the performance of the market indices on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, we are actually starting with the all share index, and we're looking at a drop of about 0.76, recording about a 0.68% drop, points to close at 111, and this was representing a 1-week loss of 2.19%, a 4-week loss of 2.96%, but an overall year-to-date gain of 20.51%. Other remarkable indices that performed were the NSE 10-share index with 0.26%, and we're looking at a 1-week loss of 1.89%, as well as a year-to-date gain of 24.45%. The 20-share index also went down by 3.51% and a 1-week loss of 4.53%, as well as a year-to-date gain of 0.04%. The 25-share index also went down by a 0.1%, leaving a 1-week loss of 1.5%, as well as a year-to-date gain of 21.24%. Now, just to provide brief insights on one of the entities that recorded some noteworthy trading volume, we're looking at Equity Group Holdings. And as much as Equity's performance on the Uganda Securities Exchange hasn't been overwhelming, how the company is handling this situation in Nairobi. But Equity Group Holdings is actually a commercial bank engaged in business of retail banking related services to individuals and enterprises. The company actually offers various banking products, including current, equity, or ordinary, and super junior investments. We're looking at Chichenge, equity, business, and current accounts, and call and fixed deposit accounts as well. But the banking group also offers trade finance services such as letters of credit and invoice discounting. It operates in 6 geographical markets, which we're looking at: Kenya, Uganda, South Sudan, Rwanda, Tanzania, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. So Equity's 3 customer-facing lines of business include customer, small and medium enterprises, and corporate. So the consumer business line focuses on salaried customers or customers receiving other regular remittances such as pension and facilities granted under the SM and facilities registered under the SME line of business, which are for purposes of meeting working capital needs and property development. We're also looking at acquisition of various assets. But the corporate line of business comprises of large enterprises, and Equity offers a range of products, including equity loan, Vijana loan, and Fanikisha loan, as well as the farm input and mortgage loans as well. We're also seeing asset financing loans, trade finance. We're looking at development loan, business loans, and biashara imara. But the equity is actually registered on the Nairobi Securities Exchange under the ticker symbol EQTY. And more information on their International Securities Identification Number can be found on the Nairobi Securities Exchange website for more information. In terms of figures, we're looking at a shares outstanding of 3.77 billion and market capitalization of 162 billion Kenyan shillings. Their current share price is at 43 Kenyan shillings, and in comparison with their previous trading session, we're looking at a 0.1% drop from the previous closing price of 43.05 Kenyan shillings. But for context, Equity actually began the year with a share price of 33.65 Kenyan shillings and has since gained a 27.8% on that price valuation. This is actually ranking it the 6th on the Nairobi Securities Exchange in terms of year-to-date performance. Now, that is it from the Nairobi Securities Exchange as well as the Uganda Securities Exchange. I will be right back to give you more information on the financial news affecting the performance of these entities. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Smart 24, driving business.
Cooking oil like no other makes your meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda, yeah, the taste of Uganda.
Luxury redefined at Seasand Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy executive
Era obubaka bwempa basaba banteekemu obwesige ne ssente sobole okwongera omutindo gwange nga bwe nviize wano.
Grow, generating growth opportunities and productivity for women enterprises.
3 inspired souls brought together by love are set on a life-changing journey.
This is your life, Mackenzie. It's no longer a dream.
It's just something about Mackenzie.
I'll never marry.
Your position does not allow you to break work relationship rules.
Where choices change everything. Crossroads, a brand new telenovela starting 25th June at 8 p.m. on Pearl Magic Prime. DSTV channel 148, GOTV channel 303.
Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome back from that short break, and I would want to go straight into the financial news affecting the East African financial markets. And first would want to go through the most recent headline on Elon Musk's Starlink cheaper data plan for Kenya, jolting Safaricom and Airtel's operation. Now, Elon Musk's satellite internet provider Starlink has unveiled a new, cheaper data plan for Kenya, ushering in competition for Safaricom and Airtel. So these two have actually had a big grip on the segment, and we're yet to see more friction from the telecommunication services on that end. But Starlink has introduced a 50 GB monthly data package at a rate of 1,300 Kenyan shillings, which is about $10.16, which is less than half the asking price for Airtel, which charges about 3,000 Kenyan shillings or $23.44 for a similar package. Now, market leader Safaricom, on the other hand, actually offers a monthly package of 45 GB at 2,500 Kenyan shillings, which is about $19.53. And subscribers of Starlink will, however, have to part with 45,500 Kenyan shillings, which is about $355.47 for an installation hardware that will unlock access to the offering, in stark contrast to the model adopted by local telecommunication companies, where users only need to activate a registered SIM card. So affordable high-speed internet with 50 GB of data included for 1,300 Kenyan shillings, adopted in for additional data of 20 Kenyan shillings per GB, reads a notification actually displayed on Starlink's website, adding that users will now be able to submit payments through mobile money options, M-Pesa and Airtel Money. So Starlink package is likely to usher in stiff competition for Safaricom and Airtel in the data segment. And the latest disclosures by the Communications Authority of Kenya show that Safaricom controls the country's mobile broadband subscriptions at 63.7% market share, followed by Airtel with 31.5%. But we are seeing others that are Telecom Kenya with 1.8%, while FinServ or Equitel and Jamii Telecommunications tally at 1.5%. Last July, Starlink unveiled satellite internet at rates that sat at the midpoint of what other fixed internet services service providers were charging per month. And we're looking at an equivalence of about $1 from 128 Kenyan shillings at the current exchange rate. But we're yet to see more to come in from that strategy that Starlink has come in with from Kenya, and hopefully the success of their operations can have it spread all around East Africa to give everyone access to this cheap and reliable data programs. But we're also looking at the first batch of Uganda oil imports nearing Mombasa importation, and we're actually seeing this ending Kenya's monopoly in this. So 2 tankers carrying the maiden consignment of petroleum products directly imported by Uganda will dock at the Mombasa port next week, and this is marking an end to the monopoly long enjoyed by Kenya oil marketers. The imports are part of a negotiated deal between Uganda National Oil Company and Vitol Bahrain that targets to lower pump prices below the current rates offered by dealers in Kenya. Now, UNOC Chief Corporate Affairs Officer Tony Otoa said 2 vessels will dock in Mombasa on the 2nd of July, and they expect the first vessel carrying about 70,000 tons, and this will continue to ensure stability in fuel supply to the country, according to him. Now, the Uganda shipment will be delivered through the Chipevu Oil Terminal 2, and we're to use Kenya Pipeline Company facilities to transport it to Uganda. On Friday, UNON, Kenya Ports Authority and the Kenya Revenue Authority, among other stakeholders, actually held a final meeting in Mombasa before the arrival of the 2 vessels. But while UNOC's entry into Kenya as a direct importer will hurt local oil farms, KPC will not suffer any revenue losses, given that Ugandan companies will continue using its storage facilities and transport network to ship the fuel to the neighboring country. So this is a win-win agreement between Kenya and Uganda, with KPA pledging to offer efficient services to cut the cost of handling fuel. KPA Managing Director Captain William Ruto said the deal is part of the plan to increase fuel throughput to Uganda. And it is true, Uganda is bringing their own vessel. So this has been made possible and easy because we can handle up to 4 vessels at any given time. That was according to Captain William Ruto. So KPA boasts the 42 billion Kenyan shillings KOT2, which consists of 4 berths with a total length of 770 meters and a workboat worth of Westmount at Westmount for landing facilities. The terminal can accommodate 3 ships concurrently, each with a capacity of 200,000 tons, and the facility has 5 subsea pipelines and 6 onshore pipelines connecting the terminal to the Kenya Petroleum Refineries Limited and the KPC's storage tanks as well. But KOT terminal can handle 6 different hydrocarbon import and export products, including aviation fuel, diesel, petrol, and it will be fitted with a liquid petroleum gas facility, crude oil, and heavy fuel oil. So Kenya has proved capable of handling huge volumes of petroleum products, with KPC having 45 tanks with a total storage capacity of 484 million liters, out of which 254 liters are reserved and are reserved for refined products. But according to the sale and purchase agreement obtained by this publication, Uganda chose Kenya over Tanzania due to its investment at the port and its proximity to the country. And UNOC is actually mandated to ensure security of supply of the petroleum products into the country. UNOC will therefore keep the Kenyan and Tanzanian routes active, although supplies through Kenya may be prioritized. And This is actually from the official communication from UNOC. And on whether Uganda will handle any consignment from foreign OMCs, it said it is mandated to only transact with Ugandan OMCs and shall therefore not be able to say invoice a foreign entity. So we have made provision for the Ugandan OMC to process the product payment through an affiliated entity who will be required to undergo clearance through the Know Your Customer document. And the Uganda government said UNOC expects the OMC that submitted their company details and requirements in the KYC document sent on 3rd May 2024 after the meeting of 2nd May to sign the SPA. So on criteria of allocating fuel imported in the arrangement, UNOC for the first months will consider ranking by historical importation figures, market presence and indicated interest backed with demonstrated financial strength. And Uganda has been seeking alternative ways of importing petroleum products, including through a Tanzanian port after its oil retailers for decades received their cargo through affiliated farms in Kenya. So we're yet to see how this process goes down and how the importation of these oil products directly to Uganda will help on the skying fuel prices. But in other headlines, we're looking at Air France launching or to launch direct flights from Paris to Kilimanjaro, and Air France will actually start flying between Paris and Kilimanjaro International Airport in Tanzania on November in a bid to boost its connectivity in Africa. So it is scheduled to start on November 18th, and the addition to its destinations is part of the airline's strategy to expand its long-haul network across the continent and improve service delivery to travelers in the region. And this was according to a statement made after the Citizen in Dar es Salaam on Monday. So Air France said in a statement that it will deploy its Airbus A350-900 aircraft to operate 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays and Saturdays, departing from Paris with return flights from Kilimanjaro on Tuesday, Thursdays and Sundays. And the route actually marks a significant enhancement in Air France's African operations, replacing the Paris, Zanzibar, Dar es Salaam route. So travelers to Dar es Salaam can still travel to Paris via Amsterdam in the Netherlands through Air France's partner airline KLM. And KLM flies between Dar es Salaam and Amsterdam 7 times in a week. So it also flies between Amsterdam and KIA 5 times a week and Zanzibar twice a week, further expanding travel options in Tanzania. So the addition of the Paris-Kilimanjaro route is a strategic decision aimed at meeting the growing demand for travel to East Africa. And this is according to Air France and KLM Tanzania country manager Rajat Kumar. So Kilimanjaro actually serves as a gateway to the region's renowned natural beauty and adventure opportunities. So the new route will facilitate to Tanzania's famed Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest peak in Africa and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So flight AF 874 will depart Paris at 10 minutes past 10 a.m. on designated days, arriving in Zanzibar at 10 past 9 p.m. local time, with onward flights to Kilimanjaro departing at 40 minutes past 10 p.m. and arriving at 40 minutes past 11 p.m. on the same day. Meanwhile, Air France continues to connect East Africa to Paris through direct flights to Nairobi, Kenya 7 times a week as the new route. And all Air France flights are serviced by modern aircraft, which have actually substantially reduced emissions, and we all know that the reduction of these emissions is a big plus in terms of keeping the environment and not polluting the air. So we're to see how this move from Air France into promoting connectivity within East Africa is bound to affect the Tanzanian economy as well as the East African economy at large. But we're hoping that this movement is also well received by the people of East Africa, because that is the only way it will be effective on the markets of East Africa. But hopefully we will bring you more information on how that goes and how Air France is benefiting from that particular move. But in other news, globally, we are looking at polls seeking safety in gold investments during troubled times across the eastern borders. And we're looking at the Warsaw, Poland. When COVID hit, long lines formed outside shops selling gold in Poland, and then came Russia's full-scale invasion to Ukraine, triggering another rush in gold in the neighboring country. But Kozik, the manager of the Warsaw shop selling gold bars and coins produced by the Mint of Poland, remembers how the day of Russia's invasion, which is 24th February of 2022, was Fat Thursday, when Poles gorged themselves on the Paxi and the jam-filled donuts. But on that day, there were longer lines for gold at their stores, for donuts at the bakery, and we're looking at Poles being shaken by the war across the border, which sent refugees fleeing their country, and to many, gold seemed to offer financial and psychological security. So today, those lines are gone, but the demand for gold remains steady as the war rages on into its third year. And adding to unease is a migration crisis at Poland's border with Belarus, which Polish authorities view as hybrid war engineered by Moscow and Minsk. So Radslaw Poklikowski, a 38-year-old entrepreneur in the western Polish city of Wrocław, began buying gold and silver coins in 2021 and now invests 5% of his assets in precious metals. So having real physical gold is important, and by that he doesn't mean a ton of gold, but an amount that will help you cross the border or make your family safe if anything is to happen. But membership in NATO gives some a feeling of security, and still many in this region, once under Moscow's control, worry that if Russia prevails in Ukraine, it won't stop there. While governments actually beef up defenses and send weapons to Ukraine, regular people are seeking protection, and some with means have bought homes in Spain and Italy. So unlike investments in real estate or artwork, in Poland, gold, diamonds and silver can easily be moved. So in Poland, gold's allure is intertwined with the enduring trauma of World War II, when it could ensure survival. So stories are still told in families of relatives who survived thanks to gold jewelry and coins, which allowed them to buy food across borders to safety when the country was under occupation by German and Soviet forces. So nearly 6 million Polish citizens were killed in that war, among them most of the Poland's Jews. But Marta Bassani, the head of precious metals and the head of precious metals trade at the Mint of Poland, said her clients include Poles who recall such family histories, as well as people in the Polish roots who return to see the land of their ancestors. Some who actually fled the Warsaw ghetto. They say that they're actually alive only because of the gold, and because their grandparents had a gold bar or a gold coin, according to them. She said that the market for investment gold bars and coins was slow in the years before COVID-19, but took off with the pandemic and the war because everybody was afraid of what was happening. So just when the gold market was leveling up, it got another boost from post-pandemic inflation, which reached over 18% in Poland. So the price of gold is volatile like stocks, and investors can lose if they buy high and have to sell low, and it can get lost or stolen. So since it is priced in dollars on a global market like oil, currency fluctuations can add to the risk for some. So that actually remains attractive. Or beyond all that, it remains attractive and attests to its universal allure. And gold has actually surged from around $1,300 per troy ounce, which is about 31 grams, and the standard for measuring precious metals, to over 2,300,000 and to over $2,300 over the past decade. So the rise is increasingly driven by demand from individuals and central banks in Asia. And according to Michael Teklinski, an expert at the Gold Saver, a popular new branch of investment gold dealer Golden Mark Group that allows clients to buy physical gold in installments. So Teklinski actually predicts prices will continue to rise in the coming years, and that is because central banks in China and many emerging markets are increasing their gold reserves. So amid the global boom, the market for physical gold in Poland has been one of the strongest in Europe after 2020. Germany and Switzerland, as well as Austria, fueled by rising wealth and a distrust of authorities. After 2020, people started to go back to their roots, and that was according to these officials. So the mint in Poland, which has operated since 1766, was once a state venture but was privatized after the fall of the communism and is now listed on the Warsaw Stock Exchange. So it retains the sole right to produce circulation coins for Poland, and it also mints coins for countries around the world, from Paraguay to Ireland and Luxembourg to Thailand. So, and the company says its gold comes from Polish and from the Polish mines, and it is ethically sourced and produced, meaning human rights and environmental protection are respected. So at the Mint of Poland shop in downtown Warsaw, set amid skyscrapers on soil where the Warsaw Ghetto once existed. So the price of gold is updated throughout the day on a screen. And on a recent afternoon, a 40-year-old business owner, Masin, walked in and ordered up to 3 gold coins and handed over 29,000 Polish zlotys, which is about $7,000 in cash, and slipped the coins in his wallet. But we're seeing how people in Poland actually have these assets in their hands. In times of war, they can be able to move without any worry of where they're going to be able to cash their assets from in order to help their families. But we're also seeing members who live in eastern Poland near the Belarus border, and they're saying they want to diversify their investments due to their concerns about the geopolitical situation and the threat cyber attacks that are posed on the global financial. But we're living in turbulent times, and we didn't expect Russia to actually attack Ukraine. But even with friends from Ukraine not expecting Russia would attack them, anything can happen. So we're yet to see a lot to go on from these global financial markets, especially the ones that are directly affected by the movement of the dollar coming up or down due to effects from the Russian war, as well as other products and commodities that are being exchanged on these markets. Remember, oil also moves hand in hand with gold, as they are universally priced using the US dollar. So their movements kind of move in line. But we will keep looking into these numbers, and it is worth noting that it is also very important to keep looking into the prices of gold and how it is reacting to recent news, and also other market indicators like the S&P futures and Nasdaq, Russell, as well as the Dow futures. But currently crude oil is at 80.86 and gold is at 2,310.80, which is actually a decline of 0.05%, and in gold we are looking at a decline of 0.10%. But that has been our analysis for today on the financial markets for both the East African environment or community and globally. We're here to see a lot to go on as the week progresses, and hopefully by the end of this week or even today's trading session alone, you will be pleased with the performance of your investments on these markets. But I have been your host, Chiberu Victor, and wish I'll meet tomorrow in another analysis of these equities performances.